Hello and welcome back. Today's video is going to be a full face of luxury makeup, and whether it is worth it or not. Some of these products I really enjoy and get good use out of it, and some of them I don't know that they really are worth the price tag. Now, a caveat about worth it, obviously that is very person to person specific, whether a high-end luxury makeup product is worth it to you or not. And I've decided that for myself, something is worth it if I'm going to get a lot of good use out of it. Maybe not finish it completely, but use it for a long time, maybe hit pan and things like that. I've just determined that even if something is only $5, if I'm only going to use it 2 or 3 times ever, that's not even worth the $5 to me. Now, I do love a lot of drugstore makeup, and I've done a lot of drugstore favorites videos. I will link those in the description box, and I do plan on doing another get ready with me style video using drugstore makeup. And also last year I did do a similar video, full face of my most expensive makeup using the Metropolis palette. So this is kind of an updated version of that. I'll link that as well if you want to see that. And the palette I'm using today is one of my newer palettes. This is the Natasha Denona Safari All Matte palette, and I have been enjoying this so much. Now, this is on sale on her site, so I only paid $64 for this, and this does have mixed reviews, but I watched a lot of videos on it and I determined I really did want it, and I have been loving it. So I wanted to do a look with this palette, kind of talking about it, and yeah, mentioning some other products along the way, and let's just get started. I already have on eyeshadow primer, and I did set that with a bit of a skin toned eyeshadow, and I want to start with this color Rhino, and I'm gonna put that in the crease, and I'm gonna use my Sonia G Worker 3 brush. This is definitely a luxury brush, very expensive. I got this in the Beautylish Lucky Bag earlier this year, and I gotta say I have been loving it. I've been tempted to buy more Sonia G brushes, honestly. And so something that people have said about this palette, a lot of people didn't like it, I will say that, but if you use not too many eyeshadows and not too much blending, this is a beautiful palette. But if you overblend, it can definitely be splotchy, and I know a lot of people, you know, just didn't enjoy this palette. So it's definitely person to person specific, and I think how you apply your makeup would definitely affect this. But personally, I love this palette, and I gotta say, I've mentioned this in another video that I've now used my Metropolis palette well over 100 times. I track a lot of usage on a lot of my products in some of my Project Pan videos, and I just realized I absolutely love the Natasha Denona formula. And even if I'm not gonna finish up her palettes, obviously, you know, if I get that much usage, they are worth the price tag to me. Now, again, I mean, I got this palette for 50% off, so I paid $64. I don't know that I'd pay the full $129. You know, I think that's the thing for me with a lot of luxury makeup is I would much prefer to get it on sale because I have a lot of makeup. I did a recent makeup inventory video, and yeah, I just think for me, I would rather get these things on sale, especially the really expensive stuff like Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath. Now, speaking of Pat McGrath, I love her eyeshadows, and I have several palettes by her. But all in all, I have realized I do prefer the Natasha Denona formula over Pat McGrath. Now, that's personal preference, but I just find that the Natasha Denona formula, it's easier to work with. Some of the shades from Pat, they can be a little bit more difficult to work with. Now, I still love the palettes I have, and I do recommend them, but if I had to pick one or the other, I would prefer Natasha eyeshadows. And yeah, I just think this palette is so beautiful. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm kind of very slowly building this up and only just slightly blending. I'm not blending, you know, like a lot of people, and I do this a lot with a lot of different eyeshadow looks, I'm like blending back and forth all around like this. And that just, it doesn't work well with these eyeshadows. So I do think sometimes switching up your technique is important. And I think when this palette did come out on the market, which was a while ago, it did get a lot of negative reviews. And I think it's just because people were just using the same techniques they always use with most other palettes. And this palette, it just doesn't work out that way. And I know that some people wouldn't want to change up their technique, and that is a hassle. And I get that. So again, personal preference, honestly, I really think is just kind of key in all of this and deciding whether something is worth it or not. And I want to go with stone all over the lid. Again, really simple look, and I don't want to use too many of the colors because, like I said, that's kind of where you can have some problems with this palette. I'm just kind of very slightly blending the crease a little bit and just adding a little bit. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm just being so gentle with these colors. And the Sonia G brushes, now this is the only one I have, but apparently she did make these intended to be used with Natasha Denona eyeshadows, which is pretty cool. And so I'm definitely considering getting more, but you know, they are expensive. Although I will say brushes last a very long time and they don't expire like makeup. I'm gonna do a cream color for the brow bone highlight. And this is a step I really like to do. It helps also blend out the top of the crease. I mean, this look is, it's kind of a cut crease, kind of, not really. Alrighty, I did winged eyeliner, which is from Maybelline. I haven't even really tried many high-end or luxury eyeliners at all. My favorite is drugstore as far as liquid eyeliner. And I did put on the Professional primer. As far as luxury primers, I have tried the YSL one, and that is actually very, very nice. But it's not really better than like a $25 or $30 primer, which is why I have not repurchased it. Now, foundation. I did have a sample of the Pat McGrath Labs foundation, and I actually didn't like it. It really dried my skin out, so I am very happy I did not spend $68 on that foundation. For me, the closest thing to luxury, and I don't even know that Estee Lauder counts as luxury, this is $43, which is definitely expensive, but it's not at the level of, you know, Tom Ford or Pat McGrath. This is the best foundation I've ever tried, and all my other favorite foundations are drugstore. This is still number one just because of the lasting power. This is what I wore on my wedding day and a lot of other special occasions, and this is just the best. But numbers 2, 3, and 4 are all drugstore, so yeah. But that one is really good. And that's just the thing that I have learned about these high-end products is, yeah, it's worth it if I'm going to get a lot of use out of it and if I'm going to enjoy it. As far as like lipstick, I did a recent declutter where I talked about some expired lipsticks, and I don't know, I have not yet found a luxury lipstick that is actually worth it because I don't use up that many lipsticks. And yeah, to me, I've decided, like I said, if I'm not going to use it a lot, then it's just not worth it to me, even if I do like it. I put on the e.l.f. Hydrating Concealer, and I really do like this. I have not really found the very favorite high-end or luxury concealer. The only luxury one I've even tried was from Dior. It was a long time ago, and I didn't love it. All my favorite concealers are from the drugstore. Now I am using this Hourglass powder. This is their loose powder. It's called, I don't even know what it's called. I should look and see. Veil Translucent Setting Powder. Now I have this mini, which is about $18, which is not bad. You get a decent amount of product in here. I've had this for a while. This is fantastic and a beautiful finish. Does look good on my combination skin and does keep my foundation in place because I do get oily in certain areas and my makeup will break down if I have not properly set it. And yeah, this is a really beautiful powder, and if I did finish this mini, I would definitely purchase the full size. Not much comes out at once, as you can tell. I have to like keep re-tapping it. That's probably the only issue I could think of, although I will say some loose powders, too much comes out, so it's probably a good thing. And this really does look like a veil. It just doesn't look like you're wearing powder, but it does set the foundation. So this is really worth it, and I would recommend trying the mini. You get 0.07 ounces in here, but you know, I don't use a whole lot of powder, therefore that will probably last me a while. And I'm gonna set my under eyes with my usual Bare Minerals Mineral Veil only under eye powder I'm gonna use. That's just the only one that works for my under eyes. All right, bronzer. I've talked about this one a lot, the Marc Jacobs. I really do love this, and I've used this a ton, and I have not hit pan. I've used this well over 100 times, and I have the other one in the black packaging, and I have hit pan on that, and it took so long. You really do get a lot of product in those Marc Jacobs bronzers, so to me, they are worth it. I do want to try the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. People have been raving about that, but right now I don't know that that'd be worth it because I have several bronzers in my collection that I really, really love, and I just don't know that I'd get enough use out of it at this point to purchase that, but at some point I definitely do want to buy that one. Blush, this is also the same one that I did talk about in my full face of most expensive makeup video. This is by Marc Jacobs in Flesh and Fantasy, and this is a neutral peachy color. This is really nice. Full price, these are very expensive, $43. But last I checked, these were on sale for 20-something dollars on the Marc Jacobs website, which I think is a really good price. This is a very smooth blush. I can't really justify buying any blush at this point because I have so much and it takes so long to finish a blush. But I do think these are good, but I just really don't have any plans of buying any other luxury blushes at this point. I do have some from Hourglass in the Ghost palette, which I will be using later in the video, and those are really nice. I do enjoy those, and I've wanted to get an individual Hourglass blush, but again, I have a lot of blush and I really don't need it. For highlighter, this is pretty expensive. This is the Lancome Absolute powder. This is the one in Absolute Peche. And these are $58, these Absolute powders. I had a different one in the past, Absolute Pearl, which that one is a matte pink tone powder that I used to use on my under eyes, but it is nearly identical to the Mineral Veil. They are actually the only two under eye powders that have ever worked for me. But because it's so similar to Mineral Veil, which is cheaper, I stick with that. So this, I didn't pay full price. I got this a while ago on the Lancome website, so I got 20% off, but that's still expensive. It is a beautiful highlighter, but I mean, I definitely don't think it's worth the full price. It is, you know, it's kind of subtle, finely milled, but you can actually really build this up. You do get a ton of product in here, so this is something that, you know, for me, it was worth to get at a discount, but full price just seems kind of crazy. And there are plenty of highlighters that I like quite a bit that are much cheaper, you know, so for me, this is not a must-have product, although I do enjoy it. Now, Hourglass, I love their finishing powders. So this is Dim Light and this is Diffused Light. Diffused Light, this has a kind of a yellow tone, and I have used this to set my entire face. Dim Light is probably one of my favorite finishing powders. As you can see, I've used these a lot, and I really do like the blushes in here, and I like this highlighter. The bronzer is only okay, but I use Dim Light almost every day to just kind of blend my highlighter into my blush and my bronzer, and it just looks good. And I have finished Dim Light before. I had it in the Ambient Lighting palette, and I completely finished that entire palette. So these Hourglass products to me are so worth it because, I mean, I am hitting pan and finishing them up. I have finished 2 minis of Luminous Light, which I love that one too. And like I said, I finished the entire Ambient Lighting palette. Clearly, these have amazing progress. So to me, they're definitely worth it. Like I said, I really do like their highlighters and also their blush, but the finishing powder is so unique, so finely milled, and I've never found anything exactly like it. All right, lower lash line, I wanna go with this dark blue Fata Morgana. And yeah, this is a really, really pretty color. Alrighty, I did brows with my ABH brow pomade and my CoverGirl brow gel, which I love both of those. That's kind of my go-to thing. And I did a inner corner highlight with this blue shimmer here from Davina. This is the color Cupid. This magnetic palette is in my Shop My Stash right now, and so I'm really trying to use these shades. These are beautiful. Oh my gosh. I've done a video on all my favorite single eyeshadows, and a lot of those were on that list, so I am happy to be using that. And then mascara, L'Oreal. I've never really tried a lot of super expensive mascara. I have tried one from YSL a long time ago. It was okay, it wasn't really worth it. So I usually stick with drugstore for that. One product that I am not using in this video, but for me, this has been worth it, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow palette, because I've used it a ton. I've hit pan on this highlighter. This is a beautiful, I mean, it's a simple champagne color. It's nothing amazing, but this bronzer I love as a bronzer and as a contour. So this to me has been worth it. I did get it 20% off. It is full price $68, which is a lot, you know, so again, this is something that, you know, on sale is probably what I'd recommend for it, but for my personal use, this has been worth it because I've used this a lot. On to lips. The Pat McGrath lip liners to me have been worth it because I just love the quality. My second favorites are ColourPop, and those are beautiful, but these are more long lasting. So it's a bit like almost like a sticky formula, which is kind of weird, but yeah. This is the color Contour, which is a light brown, but she has a lot of other colors. And I have one other one, a more pink nude buff. So for me, these have been well worth it. Alrighty, and I mentioned earlier lipstick. I just don't know that luxury lipstick is worth it to me because I'm just worried I don't get enough use out of it. I do have this Charlotte Tilbury one in the color Bitch Perfect, which is a peachy nude, and I like it, I do, but this is $34. Even with like a 20% off, that's still a very expensive lipstick. Therefore, I just don't know that in general, these luxury expensive lipsticks are worth it to me. If I only owned 3 or 4 lipstick and I was regularly finishing them up, then yeah, I think that makes more sense. But, you know, I have 30 lipsticks. Unfortunately, I know more of them will expire, so I just don't feel the need to buy these really expensive ones. Last but certainly not least, lip gloss. I love the Pat McGrath lip glosses. I really do. This is Bronze Divinity. This is a full size. These are $28, but you can get 3 minis for $25. This is just one of the smoothest and shiniest, most comfortable formulas I've ever tried. So for me, these have been worth it. I've already finished up 2 of the minis that I have. Therefore, no regrets. Definitely want to buy more once I use up some lip glosses, because again, lip gloss expires, but I use lip gloss a lot more. A lot of days I wear just lip gloss and I do reapply it just sitting around the house. And a lot of days I wear lip liner and lip gloss and just skip lipstick altogether. Therefore, yeah, I think that's why I can justify a more expensive lip gloss just based on my personal usage. I just love this shine so much. And I know I've talked about this lip gloss already like a ton, but it's amazing and I have no regrets about purchasing that. Alrighty, that is this look. I really like how it turned out. I love this eyeshadow look, I really do. And I am just really impressed with this palette. Now, again, $64 is what it's on sale for. I would not have paid the $129, but for me, the $64 was well worth it because I've already used this 20 something times since I have purchased it. And I just feel like I could get a lot of use out of it because I can combine it with other palettes or do an all matte look like today, which I love all matte looks. I just realized the Natasha Denona formula is probably my #1 favorite eyeshadow formula. It really is. I do want to buy more of her palettes because I do feel like I get good use out of my palettes. I know I have a large collection. I did a recent makeup inventory, but I would rather spend $100 on an eyeshadow palette I'm going to use hundreds of times for several years than spend even $5, let alone $30 on an expensive lipstick or even a drugstore lipstick that I'm going to use 3 times and it'll go bad. So that's just kind of how my thought process has been lately. I want to buy things I will use a lot. And this I've already used a lot and I really, really love it. In general, Natasha Denona eyeshadows, they're great. I really haven't tried any of her other products though, which is crazy. I mean, she has those face palettes and lipsticks and so many other things I hear people raving about, but I haven't purchased them because like I mentioned, I have a good amount of highlighter and blush and I don't want to buy another face palette unless I know I'm going to use it a lot, which is why I haven't purchased any of her face palettes, but I have really heard good things about those. So let us know if you have some of her face palettes. So yeah, that is it for this video. Please let us know what is worth it to you. And I think that it's such a personal question, obviously, but yeah, that is it. Those are my thoughts. I like how the look turned out. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.